The United States is teetering on the edge of a geopolitical crisis, and it all revolves around Greenland. It might sound bizarre at first. After all, Greenland is just a cold, remote island in the North Atlantic. But here's the twist. It's quickly becoming one of the hottest flashpoints in international politics. So why are U.S. senators from both sides of the aisle now joining forces to speak out against Donald Trump's increasingly dangerous threats regarding Greenland? And why should this matter to you? The stakes are huge. NATO's future, global alliances, and even the power dynamics between major world players are all in play. But here's the kicker. This isn't just about politics. It's about real people, their sovereignty, and the very real fear that their future is being decided in a high-stakes political game. Stick around, because you won't believe what happens next. So what exactly is going on in Greenland? It's not just another political standoff. It's the latest chapter in an unfolding saga that could redefine global power dynamics. A bipartisan delegation of U.S. senators recently flew all the way to Greenland. Yes, Greenland, to deliver a message loud and clear. They stood side by side with lawmakers from Greenland and Denmark, sending a united front that rejects Trump's increasingly erratic demands. They made it known the U.S. will not invade Greenland, and they will use every ounce of power in the Senate to make sure Trump's threats don't go any further. But here's the thing. Why Greenland? What makes this small island so important? And why are American politicians willing to risk everything to protect it? This is more than just about a piece of land. It's about sovereignty, global stability, and the future of NATO. And make no mistake, this is not a fight just between countries. It's a battle over influence, control, and the direction of the Western alliance. So how far will these tensions escalate? And what could this mean for the average person like you? Now, let's talk about the most shocking part of all this, the senators' statements in Greenland. These aren't just words. They're a direct warning. Senator Lisa Murkowski, one of the key Republicans in the group, made it crystal clear if Trump follows through with his threats, there will be consequences. We will make sure that he is impeached, that he is thrown out, that he is convicted, that he is gone, she said. Think about that for a second. Republican senators openly vowing to take down their own president. This isn't just political theater. This is a power struggle at its peak. But here's the twist. While the senators are publicly denouncing Trump's actions, there's something crucial they're not saying. They're not just worried about Greenland's sovereignty. They're worried about NATO's survival. The very core of the Western alliance could fracture over this. And the real danger, if this goes unchecked, it opens the door for adversaries like Russia and China to step in. Now, watch closely. This isn't just about military threats. It's a statement about what kind of world the U.S. wants to shape and whether it will stay a global leader or descend into isolation. The stakes couldn't be higher. As the situation continues to unfold, things are only getting more intense. Think about this. The U.S. senators, including some from Trump's own party, are taking a firm stand against his Greenland plans. This isn't just a matter of diplomacy. It's a direct challenge to the very idea of American influence. And while this may seem like a new conflict, it's actually part of a larger, more worrying trend. From Russia's increasing military presence in the Arctic to China's growing reach across the globe, the world is shifting in ways that threaten the stability of NATO and U.S. leadership. Here's where things get even more concerning. The pushback against Trump isn't just limited to words. This has become a showdown over what's normal and what isn't in global politics. We're seeing Republican lawmakers join forces with Democrats, setting aside party lines to protect a global order that's been in place for decades. But the reality is, this kind of political unity over a single issue is rare. The fact that it's happening over Greenland shows just how far this issue could go and how normalized it is for U.S. foreign policy to be on the line. This isn't just about Greenland's future. It's about how the United States defines its role in the world. And if this escalates, it could change the entire balance of power. What happens when allies become enemies and threats turn into real consequences? The answer to that is unfolding right now. But it doesn't stop there. As the tension grows, more powerful voices are entering the conversation. Take Senator Shaheen, for example. She delivered a stark warning that should send chills down anyone's spine. An American military takeover of Greenland would threaten NATO as we know it. And she's right. Even without military action, the very suggestion that the U.S. could forcefully take Greenland sends shockwaves through the international community. Notice what's missing here. Nobody is denying the scale of the threat. There's no debate about whether Trump's rhetoric is dangerous. The real question is how far this will go. Shaheen didn't just warn about military action. She highlighted something far more sinister. This rhetoric weakens America's standing with its closest allies, frays trust, and emboldens adversaries like Russia and China. Every word Trump says chips away at the core principles of NATO. And that's exactly what these senators are trying to prevent. But here's where things really start to shift. These senators aren't just talking about protecting Greenland, they're also warning about the larger global consequences. A fractured NATO means a weakened West, and a weakened West means a global vacuum where adversaries can rise unchecked. This is the kind of tipping point that can change the course of history. And if it doesn't stop soon, we could find ourselves facing a very different world order. Now, things are escalating quickly. It's not just talk anymore. Actions are starting to take shape. We're seeing a rapid cascade of events that are pushing this situation to the brink. First, the growing international concern over Trump's threats is causing serious anxiety in Greenland and Denmark. There's a deep fear of what could happen next, and in response, European countries are already preparing to act. Special forces are being sent to Greenland to protect its sovereignty from what some see as an impending U.S. invasion. It's like a political pressure cooker, with each new move pushing things closer to the edge. And then there's the bigger picture. What happens if this continues? What happens if the U.S. continues down this path of isolation and military threats? It's not just a diplomatic crisis, it's a global security issue. Allies are already starting to look elsewhere for support, and adversaries are seizing on the opportunity. Russia and China, already flexing their muscles in the Arctic, are watching closely. The moment they sense NATO's weakening, they'll move in, and the U.S. will find itself sidelined in a game it used to dominate. This is what happens when unchecked power starts to unravel. It starts with one threat, one misstep, and suddenly the entire global order is in jeopardy. The question is, how much longer can this pressure last before something snaps? Now let's shift gears. This isn't just about international politics. It's about real people. People like you. Because when the threat of invasion is looming over a nation like Greenland, it's not just a headline. It's a real personal fear. Imagine going to bed at night wondering if tomorrow will bring foreign troops on your doorstep. That's the reality for some of the people in Greenland right now. Their sovereignty, their way of life, is under threat. Not from some distant adversary, but from their supposed ally, the United States. And what about you? If this kind of political instability spreads, it's not just distant countries that suffer. The ripple effects will be felt here, too. From global markets to everyday security, the consequences of a fractured NATO will touch everyone. This isn't just a story about Greenland anymore. It's a story about how the world order directly impacts your life, your safety, and your future. If this feels familiar, this feeling of fear, of powerlessness, drop a comment and let us know. It's not just happening in far-off countries, it's something that can happen anywhere, at any time. And if we don't pay attention now, we might find ourselves caught in a similar situation sooner than we think. But this isn't just about a few misguided threats, it's about a deeper system at play. Why is this happening? Why are we seeing the breakdown of alliances and the rise of reckless rhetoric? It comes down to power, both economic and political. The mechanism driving this whole situation isn't just one man's ego or one political party's agenda. It's a much larger game, one that's being played on a global scale. Nations like the U.S. and Russia know that control over strategic locations like Greenland gives them leverage, not just for military dominance, but for control over critical resources. In the Arctic, there are untapped reserves of oil and minerals. Whoever controls Greenland controls more than just land. They control access to these precious resources. But here's the unsettling truth. This kind of thinking isn't about safeguarding national security. It's about spectacle, fear, and influence. Power players use fear to maintain control, pushing nations toward conflict while they profit from the chaos. This is the reality behind the headlines. The systems we trust to keep us safe are also the ones making decisions that put us at risk. And as long as those in power continue to push for more control, we'll see more crises like this. This isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a growing pattern where the interests of the few outweigh the well-being of the many. So where do we go from here? The situation in Greenland is at a crossroads, and two potential paths are emerging. On one side, we could see the tensions diffuse. The bipartisan support in the U.S. Senate might just be enough to rein in Trump's reckless ambitions. Countries like Denmark and Greenland could continue to stand firm, with NATO and other international powers ensuring that the balance of power holds steady. In this scenario, we move past this crisis, but not without scars. The damage to global trust will linger, and the alliances that were tested may never be quite as strong as they once were. But on the other hand, what if this escalation doesn't stop? What if Trump continues down this path and the fracture within NATO deepens? The consequences could be devastating. We could see a world where America is increasingly isolated, while its adversaries, Russia and China, capitalize on the division. Greenland, caught in the middle, could find itself torn between powers, forced into uncomfortable compromises. And for the U.S., the fallout could be severe, economically, politically, and militarily. The world order we've known for decades could unravel, creating a new, unpredictable geopolitical landscape. The future is uncertain, and both paths are fraught with risk. One thing's for sure, whatever happens next will shape the world for years to come. The question is, which direction will we go? As we wrap this up, there's one thing that stands out above all else. This crisis is about more than just Greenland. It's about power, control, and the future of global alliances. It's about whether the U.S. will continue to lead or fall into a self-destructive spiral of isolation. And it's about what happens when unchecked ambition starts to tear apart the very systems that keep the world in balance. If you think about it, this isn't just about a land dispute or political theater. It's about who gets to decide the future, whether it's the people who stand up for peace and diplomacy or those who are willing to risk it all for power. And what happens next? That's up to us. For now, the ball is in the court of global leaders, and the stakes are higher than ever. Stay tuned, because this story isn't over. The next move is already in motion, and it could change everything. Don't miss it. If you want to stay updated on the latest developments and get in-depth analysis like this, hit that follow button and join the conversation. You won't want to miss what's coming next.